Lakeisha was a very average-looking woman, but she had chocolate skin as smooth as a baby's bottom. Despite being in her late 30s, she barely wore any makeup and dressed sharp, as any woman who had spent her life on Capitol Hill in D.C. did. She had recently cut her long braids and was now wearing a short, stylish cut. "What are you so happy about?" Lakeisha asked. "Same thing you are," Charisse responded in that smooth, soft voice she had. It was a tone that made women suspicious of her, and men want to buy her a drink. "It is exciting, isn't it?" Lakeisha asked. "We work well together." That might not have always been the case. When Lakeisha first came to Charisse, it wasn't because the younger woman's name was mentioned in the power circles of D.C. communications. Despite having a husband who was an active and successful lobbyist, Charisse was having a hard time getting invites to the power events in D.C. No, Charisse's name was on the tip of Lakeisha's tongue because Jennifer Ross had placed it there, the woman who was having an affair with Justin. Jennifer had been the wife of Ryan Hodgkins. Hodgkins was a man Charisse had slept with early in her marriage. It was suspected he might be the real father of Charisse's daughter, Katie. It was only one night, and both Ryan and Charisse cut all ties the day after, but Ryan eventually spilled the truth to Jennifer during their messy divorce. Instead of finding Charisse and trying to beat her head into the ground, like most women would do, Jennifer decided to get back at Charisse by sleeping with her husband. With the way things were between Justin and Charisse at the time, he was ripe for the picking. It was during this madness that Lakeisha approached Charisse. Despite taking her up on the offer to help out the Northman campaign, Charisse was more distracted than ever before. Her reputation for being immaculate in her work style took some blows, which Lakeisha was around to witness firsthand. Although she never found out the truth behind Charisse's momentary lapse of professionalism, there were times when Lakeisha doubted Charisse still had it. Those doubts had been obliterated. Charisse had gotten Jennifer out of the way via exposing her plan to Justin and ruining her reputation beyond repair in the Washington Post. After that, Charisse was able to focus once again on her job. Lakeisha, Northman, and the rest of the team had nothing but impressive words to say since then. "You're taking too much credit for this," Lakeisha said with a sly smile. Charisse laughed. "I didn't even say anything." "You don't have to," she answered back. "That smug expression on your face looks like you just made the entire press say your name before sitting back and smoking a cigarette." Charisse had done an amazing job. She was able to increase Northman's exposure and make him a national name. No one outside of Maryland had even known who he was in the beginning. Now, even the Prime Minister of England mentioned him to the British press when discussing the future of American politics. More important to Charisse, her name was being mentioned in the press, as she was giving several quotes a week. Now that Northman was officially announcing Charisse's life was going to go into hyperdrive, this is what she'd wanted forever. She had fought and clawed her way up the ladder, sometimes playing by the rules, but more often by not obeying them. Either way, Charisse was an end justifies the means type of girl. When the end was her gaining more power and influence, the means were a mere afterthought. "Let's go," Lakeisha ordered the second that Northman ended the conference and headed behind the curtain. As Ginger darted off to her eagerly waiting grandchildren, Lakeisha latched on to Northman to inform him of the interview he was to do next with Washington Life, an interview Charisse had set up for him. She noticed Northman glance in her direction. He smiled, and she smiled back, with a thumbs up, keeping a bit of a distance. Lakeisha was very possessive of him, and Charisse had learned to wait a few minutes before showing up. Whenever Charisse did show up, she immediately got Northman's attention. He was no different than any other man.